Ladies and gentlemen, the show we've all been waiting for, Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present REP Paranormal and Friends with your hosts, Kim Purvis and Allison Robinson. Live every Thursday night on Spreaker, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Be sure to check out their Facebook page, REP Paranormal Busters.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, welcome to another night of REP Paranormal and Friends. We have a couple special guests tonight from Raven Rose. We have Cynthia and Roland. So welcome. How are you guys doing?
Hi. We're doing good.
That's good.
Yeah, we're doing really good.
Doing real good.
Before we get really started, let's tell everybody about yourselves and how you got started.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll let you do that one.
Okay. Well, in the beginning,
Here we go.
when the Earth was created, there were these molecules that got together. And no, actually, we've actually individually have been, interested in the paranormal for a long time. You got the curiosity as a kid, and in my case, there were stories about, this one particular house in the corner that everyone said was haunted. So, we as kids broke in and, thought we saw some stuff, and you don't recommend people breaking into places.
That's him. I wasn't there.
And we did a lot of, ghost stories and things as I grew up. In addition to, I started getting a little bit more interested when I joined a Wiccan coven. There, I learned about, spiritualism and things like that. Mm-hmm. Got into Ouija boards, spiritual contacts and things like that. And did things I probably shouldn't have done.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
We're all innocent little angels.
Define angels. Okay. Then that got my curiosity, and then eventually, when I got together with Cindy, we watched a lot of the paranormal shows, and that got us like, ooh, neato. What we could do that, or what would that be like, or that's a really cool thing. So we would contemplate, going to places like that until one day, something happened out of the blue, and I'm going to let Cindy pick up from here, because this is where we have our adventures.
What happened out of the blue was I found out that my boss and a group of his friends were hobbyists, and they liked to go to different locations and investigate. And they were talking about an investigation that they had done at Villisca. And I was like, oh, cool. That would be fun to do. And my boss looked at me and he says, well, do you want to go with us next time? I was like, really? Ears perk. And I was like, well, yeah. And so then I called Roland and I'm like, hey, want to go ghost hunting? And he's like, yeah.
Actually, it was more a duh.
Yeah, duh. And so we ended up that summer going out to Farrar with them. And Farrar was our actual first official investigation.
Oh, okay. Nice.
That was our second.
That was our second. Villisca was our first one. So
Farrar broke us in, and Edinburgh. I think Edinburgh was our second, right?
Yeah, Edinburgh was our second.
Yep.
Squirrel Cage was our
the third.
Then Malvern
Yep.
was our fourth. Then we went on our California trip, and that's when we did
The Whaley
House, the Winchester, the
and
Queen Mary, and Hearst Castle.
We didn't get to do Hearst Castle. We toured it.
Toured it. And then we went back, did Edinburgh again.
Yeah, and then Melbourne.
Then Malvern. Then we went to New Orleans and did 1022 Royal Street.
Oh,
which was awesome. Then Manila, then Malvern, then Edinburgh, and a bunch of little cemeteries.
So yeah, we've done a little bit.
Yeah, and you haven't been in it that long, really.
Oh,
as a group, no, we've only been in it a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Yeah, but myself and Roland have been at it for about 5+ years.
Yeah, 5+ years.
And we've done a residential or two here and there. We're trying to do more residential, but you know how Iowa is. People don't like to admit they have spirits in their houses,
Which is funny. Because I don't know. Because, see, I also work in Malarkey, so I work in a bar. And at the end of the night, I have a bunch of people. They'll come up and go, I got a question.
they're slurring their words.
You guys talk to ghosts, right? I think my house has a demon in it, and you should come over and talk to it. Like, all right, tell me about this demon. You know? Well, I think it's a woman because I come home at night and she yells at me.
That would be your wife getting pissed off at you.
You know? So, but yeah, we got into, we kind of accidentally ended up in the local newspaper. And then all of a sudden now people are like, oh, you guys are the ghost chasers, aren't you?
You guys are the ghost. Yeah,
the ghost chasers.
We get called ghost chasers. I'm like, no, that's a team up of Supernatural.
Yeah. So, and it always seems like everybody's house is like possessed with demons.
Oh yeah, I know.
Personally, I think it's just you need to feed your cat.
I know, that's the first word that comes out of their mouth. It's haunted by a demon. They watch TV.
You sure? Did you pay your rent?
Drunk demons.
Yep.
They just watch too much TV.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Definitely so.
Gosh, that's crazy.
Okay, I noticed on your site you asked a question, but you guys never answered it. I want to know your answer. What is the dumbest question you asked in an EVP?
Okay. The dumbest question I've ever asked was we were doing a necroponics, and we were at Edinburgh, and myself was sitting in the rocking chair. If you guys have been there recently, there's a coffin room on the second floor.
Yep.
And there's a pew in front of the coffin, and the coffin is open, and there's a cross inside. Taylor had the necrophonics, but he had headphones, so he couldn't hear the question.
And this is kind of a preface to that. When we do our necrophonics sessions, we like to have our skeptic put the headphones in, because the way he does it is he will not repeat a word unless it is clear enough for him to understand it. If it's gibberish, and he can't get it, he won't say it.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. That's how we do our necrophonics sessions.
And the necrophonics is set loud enough so that way he can't hear the questions.
Yep.
Right.
Anyways, so I'm sitting there, and we just basically started the session, and I was asking, the typical, rookie questions. Hi, how are you? Are you here? Can you make a noise? Will Donald Trump be elected again in 2020? You know, really just typical ghost questions. And finally, I came up to where I asked, I go, okay, if you're here, can you knock on the wall? Can you close the coffin? Can you knock the cross off the coffin? Wait a minute. No, that's not a good idea. I think that would be bad. And then immediately, Taylor chuckles and he goes, "That's wrong."
Whatever spirit was talking to him told him that's wrong.
Yeah. So that's like, it's like actually that's the second dumbest question. The actual dumbest question I asked one time was, "Do you, as a spirit, watch us when you take a shower?" I didn't get a response.
I wasn't there for that one.
No. I was just curious.
I think the funniest response we ever got to any of our questions was him and Taylor were up in the attic in Malvern. The spirits had called him up there, and was it number one?
Yeah. Number
one was sitting there calling him upstairs, so he came upstairs, and they were sitting there for a little while, and Roland says, "Okay, what do you want? You know, we're up here, what do you want?" And Taylor responds with help. And Roland's like, "Oh, okay, what do you want help with?" And the response that we get did not come through the necrophonic, it came through an EVP, and it says, "Your wife."
Oh.
I was downstairs. I wasn't even in the room.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
And if you ever go and get a chance to watch us investigate, we have a process in which our questions are pretty much like as if you're sitting down at a bar and sharing a few drinks and you just meet somebody.
Uh-huh.
Because and this isn't a knock on anybody, but a lot of investigators have interviews when they do a session.
Uh-huh.
It's just an interview. What's your name? How did you die? What's the password to your $1 million bank account? And just that, as opposed to hey, what's up? Okay, and
not conversational.
Yeah, it's too impersonal because again, going back to the coffin session when we were having our necrophonic session. Again, I started off like normal, and as I was listening to it, it became I changed the subject like 4 times, and at one point I decided to get a little deeper, and I asked the spirit that was there, what do you see? You're dead. What do you see? How do you see us? How do you perceive us? And we actually had this conversation going on. And at one point, Taylor took his headset off and he was like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?" And I go, "What?" And he goes, "He knows." And I'm chuckling because prior to him taking that off, I asked, does Taylor believe? Because Taylor's a skeptic.
Uh-huh.
And then he took it off and he goes, "He knows." And it's as if, I got more from that than
when you do with the typical
interview, because now it got personal, because then we talked about things and it felt normal. That I know that if we were to come back, I could sit down and say, "Hey, Bob, how are you doing?" That kind of thing.
If you hit Bob, you're going to get, "I don't like that name."
Cindy needs to tell the story of Bob.
That's the one in Shaler,
okay,
right?
In Shaler.
Okay. So when we got the opportunity, and I want to say, I'm sure they're not listening, but if they are, we want to say thank you to T&D Entertainment out of Shaler, Iowa. They run the local haunted house there, and we got the chance to investigate the haunted house. And
Nice.
that was the first time we'd ever done an actual haunted attraction. So, they have a spirit. We were the second group to actually get to go in. The first group was CCPI, which is the Calhoun County Paranormal Investigators. That's Seth Alney's group.
Yep.
He's going to be on our show in August.
Awesome. Yes. But yeah, Seth and I think his brother, maybe,
I believe so,
and another guy were down there, and they got to investigate, but they didn't get the third floor. We got the third floor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had actually gotten to be the first people to be able to get up onto the third floor. And up there is a male spirit who is very growly, very, very grumpy, just doesn't want people up there. You know, that's his space. Don't invade it. And we couldn't get a name. Could not get a name for the life of us. And so Roland finally turns around and he's like, fine, you're not going to give me a name? I'm going to call you Bob. And out of the necrophonics comes, I don't like that name.
You are not going to give your name. I'm going to name you Bob. So, Bob, how are you doing? And he goes, I don't like the name. And I go, then tell us your name.
And it wouldn't.
So I go,
we
okay.
Still don't have a name for
him. So we were down in Malvern, and I got another spirit that would not tell me his name.
So what's he do?
What do I call him? I'm Bob.
Bob.
And the funny thing is he gets the same response.
Yep. I don't like that.
The funny thing is during the course of the evening, at the beginning he was very irate that I called him Bob.
I think that was number one, actually.
Yeah, I think it was number one. And later on, towards the progression of the night, and eventually it was like, okay, we're having this conversation. I'm resigned to the fact that I'm going to be called Bob by this guy named Roland.
Yep.
We were doing a session in the hallway, the nurse's hallway, and somebody else called him Bob. And boy, Cindy had the necrophonics on.
And it was a very pointed and spaced out. Do not call me that.
Oh, jeez. Nice.
Okay, so Roland's the only one that can call you that, huh? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So,
oh, gosh.
Never go to Malvern.
Yeah, we'll have to remember.
Don't call him Bob.
Actually, call him Bob. I want to see what he says.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
So,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because I just downloaded Necrophonics on my phone, so we'll be trying that next time. Yeah. So we'll remember
the best way to do it is
get somebody with headphones or earbuds or something.
Earbuds, but you want to make sure the earbuds, you can't hear the question.
Yeah, you fit them tight enough and put the volume up loud enough that you can't hear the question.
We've got headphones that cuts all the outside noise out. Yeah. So,
and that's the best way to do it.
Exactly.
Yep.
And what that does is that takes out the pareidolia effect. You know,
to where one person hears dog, the other one hears Bob.
Yeah. Right.
You know, plus also it makes a person, if you finally get somebody who's comfortable with using it, because Taylor is now very comfortable with using it. He'll pop it on and immediately, you know, he can tell. We actually gauge the length of time in staying in a particular location off of him. Where he'll sit there and we'll have a conversation going on, but he'll turn and I'll look at him and go, is it just gibberish? And he goes, yeah, and says, okay, we're dead, we'll move on. Because when you get things like, you know, what's your name? Banana. So are you dead? Frogs.
And it makes no sense.
You know, when it becomes irrelevant. Or the necrophonic starts leading the question, and that's when you know, okay, we don't want to go there. Because the person who's asking the question should be the one leading it. And what I mean by that is, you know, you're sitting there and all of a sudden you hear, help. Okay, help with what? Run. Run where? Look behind you. Now that means the necrophonics is leading. You're basically feeding into the words.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want to do.
Yep.
Because that's no better than having it out in the open and it going, Doug, you know, and now you're going, oh, Doug, did you say Doug? What about Doug? See, now that means you're leading into it. It should be The questionnaire, if that comes up, like run, the questionnaire goes, okay, run. Why should we be running?
Yeah.
So you return the thing back to the questionnaire because then it lends credibility to your necrophonics. And that works with Spiritus and the Geophone, SB7, if you can stand the static.
I can't do the static on an SB7. It messes with me too much.
I like the Spiritus, and then we just downloaded the other one, so I can't handle the SB7 either.
Yeah, I think if you like the Spiritus, you'll really like the Necrophonic. Cool. The Necrophonic doesn't have all of the channels on it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just got the one channel, but you still have the reverb, you still have the echo. You can still manipulate it to where you can understand everything that's being said and things like that. So, I mean, it's still a really good app. I like it.
Yeah. I think the one disadvantage to doing it with a person going through sensory deprivation, and I do understand Cindy's point, because sometimes something really cool comes out, but it's just the person who gets to hear it.
Yeah, it's just the one person who gets to hear it.
But
like
when we were at Villisca.
Yeah, when we were at Villisca, we were in the children's bedroom downstairs, and Taylor had the necrophonic in, and Roland was asking questions again, and Taylor automatically rips out the earphones, and he's like, here, and I'm like, what? And he goes, I just got clapping, like literal clapping, and they don't, that app does not do that.
Oh, wow.
It is not programmed to clap for you.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Huh, that's interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah. See, and the drawback there now is that we don't get to experience that. But again, I think that's probably the most effective way in using those particular apps, because it's almost like channeling.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
Except in a more mechanized automatonic kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no such word as automatonic, so don't look it up. But you know what I'm saying?
Pat was in here, we tell her, hey, new encyclopedia word.
I like doing it with the earphones anyway, because you don't have 5 people saying 5 different words that came out of it. And then you got to go back and listen to your recorder, and you didn't even come with the words they even said.
Yeah. I did the coffin. When we did the coffin session, it actually lasts for about 19 minutes. And then I edited it down to about 10 to 13 minutes, taking out the dead space. Of course, I made sure there were no EVPs or anything in those points. But basically, I just did it for structure reason. Mm-hmm. And it literally is the most mind-blowing 13 minutes. Because it's literally like having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes it unique is I changed the direction 4 times, and the spirit or the necrophonics or whoever spirit we were talking to, who calls himself the Traveler, went with it. And it's one of those sessions that just blows my mind.
It was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading Matt's comment. Talking about the SB7. He'd rather listen to somebody scratch chalkboard.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I mean, with me being a sensitive and intuitive,
that's a lot of noise.
That's way too much noise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, and I'm not trying to take away from the SB7. There's people who will attest to its functionality, and that's fine. I worked at Malarkey's as a DJ for almost 20 years, and this side of my ear, my left side, I have a hard time hearing. So the reason why I don't do the phonics is because I can't really grab some of the words, especially the ones that are really low. And to have this single.
I gotta go shut the door.
And I'm trying I'm trying to pull words out of that. I can't because it's hard. Sometimes it's at that volume or at that decibel it's too low for me to hear. So guess what? The SB7 is pointless to me. But, Taylor can hear it. There's people there's people in and around that we know on teams that can hear all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't hear it. So, and that's fine. That works for them. Cynthia uses the Spiritus and she uses it effectively. And I've gone through a lot of reviews where she's using the Spiritus and she's just having this conversation just going and going. And I catch it and I'm sitting here going, every time I use it, it doesn't work for me. Doesn't mean that it's a bad app. No.
It just doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. Yeah, it just doesn't work. I mean, it's like saying I can't jet ski. Does it mean nobody should be allowed to jet ski? No. Cindy doesn't want me to skydive.
We're not going to go there.
I'd love to go skydiving.
Oh, me, no way, Jose.
You two can have fun then.
Yeah, I won't do it either. No way.
Okay, you and I'll stay, Allison, you and I'll stay on the ground.
That's fine with me. That's fine with me.
I'm up
My
for it.
husband says, why do you want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane?
So that way we can see the perfectly good Earth come rushing to our perfectly kind of crazy brain.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Okay,
No.
when you were at Melbourne the last time, you were in the bathroom. And I asked you to go into the tub.
Talking about using the bathroom, or
No.
I'm joking.
You were doing the necrophonics in the bathroom. You were asking questions. And I wanted you to go in the tub and sit, but you didn't because you didn't understand what I wanted you to do.
Yeah, no.
But I thought it was cool because you were getting a lot of what he was asking, but he was trying to get him to say a number, but not until the end when you turned your back. He finally said the number Roland wanted him to say, and that was to get out.
Yeah.
I was a little confused on that one because I'm standing there and it's sitting there telling me, okay, come in, so I go in and I'm trying to figure out what they want. And then, it goes into a little bit of a conversation and then all of a sudden it's like, get out. And I'm like, but you called me in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's telling me you see me in the glass. And I'm like, what glass? And then I noticed that there's a mirror, so I'm thinking, well, maybe it's talking about the mirror. Mm-hmm. So then I look up, and it's sitting there telling me, get out. And I'm like, okay, fine. What do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, uncooperative spirits is not something unusual. No. I'm assuming you guys have dealt with them, too.
Oh, yeah.
Theyll sit there going, come here, sit.
Get out.
You sit. Now get out. What? I just sat.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, when you were asking him to give you numbers, he's going up and down with the numbers, and just like he was playing around with you. And then as soon as she turned her back, you were holding up 3 fingers, and she said 3 right then and there.
Yeah. Yeah, and the funny thing is like, I start off and go, okay, if you can see us, what number am I holding up? 4. No, you're not there. 2. Okay, now you're just
guessing.
Now you're just fucking around. Okay. 5, and I'm like, seriously, focus here. And we go through the thing, and then finally it was like 3. And it's like, you're a little late on that, but thank you.
Now, the reason we wanted you to sit in the tub is Allison had an experience in that bathroom.
Okay.
She was laying in the tub, and she felt like she was getting strangled and drowned in that tub.
Like, I could see the woman there, and she was struggling, and my face started to twitch, and then all of a sudden my head just started wiggling out of control. Like,
Yeah,
I could feel it.
I didn't get that sense when I was in there, but what actually drew me in there to begin with was they had started us off in separate groups, and we were upstairs in Inez's room with Josh Hurd and Chris Smith from Tennessee Race Chasers. And we were having a really good necrophonic session up there, which was hilariously funny because we actually had Josh Hurd going, "Oh, no fucking way, here, you take these."
Were you in the...
I think Kim was watching.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we went and we switched, and then we ended up going down to the nursing home wing with Chris and Randall from the Paranormal Project. And as I was walking, doing a live, just kind of showing people where we were at and what we were doing, I got to the door frame of that bathroom, and out of my peripheral, I mean, I wasn't looking straight at it, but out of my peripheral, I could see about a 6'4", 6'5" shadow, and it wasn't looking dead on at me. It was the profile. And then I turned to look, and it's gone. And it literally startled me really bad. And so I went in there to check it out, and that's when Roland came down, and we decided to do that session in there to see if there was anybody in there. So,
yeah. No, we've got 2 more chances to go to Melbourne yet.
Yeah.
We'll be going the 13th and the 27th of July. So,
cool.
So I was wondering, you get a lot of action out of Inez's room. Roland does.
Yeah.
With Penny and Pippo, right?
Yes.
Yep.
We get a little action with our dog Maverick we take with us. But I was just wondering if I could borrow Penny and Pippo and say Roland's here with us.
Yeah. She probably would know.
Well, you can try. If you can pry them out of his hands, you can take them with you.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to find some that looks like it and take them with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still think she'll know the difference. Yeah. No, because there was I think we did. I'm trying to remember. There was a time where I didn't take Penny and Pippo into Inez's room, and I'm wondering if it was Pat Nighty that did it. I don't know, but somebody else took Penny and Pippo.
Yeah, it was Heidi and Pat.
Yeah, they took him in there.
Or no, you left them sitting.
Oh, that's right. I left them, and then they were there, and they couldn't garner a response. And I'm wondering if it's just an association because I'm there. Inez understands that these are my friends because every time I walk in there, the very first thing she goes, "Friends." And I'd be like,
that's one of the first things we hear out of the necrophonic anytime we step foot into that room.
Yep, is friends, and it's not friends as in like, Cynthia Taylor and I. No, it's are you talking? Yeah, Penny and Pippo, and she goes, yeah,
The
last time we were down there,
we've taken Boo Buddy in there and got nothing out of there with it. And it talks and it does nothing. But she likes the little Maverick dog that we take in there every once in a while. She'll play with it. But
yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because when we get Penny and Pippo in there, it's hilarious because you ask her, "What is that? What is that?" If you have Penny sitting on the floor, what is that? Duck. It's a duck. It's a duck. Duck, 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 duck.
She'll go. If you point to Pippo, she'll go hippo. So she knows that. But you go, and it's like we had the periscope, and you can say point to touch the penguin, and it will touch the penguin, and you go, okay, so what animal is that? Duck,
bird,
duck.
Yep. Hilarious.
I think only once she called
it Penny.
That's it. She hasn't called penguin. She calls it Penny.
She calls it Penny.
Yeah.
Susie called it penguin.
Yeah. I think Gracie called it penguin, but not in a nice way.
No. that was the night that did. That was the second time?
Second time.
Third time. No, third time.
Yeah, it was the third time.
That was the third time.
That was when I asked forgiveness from
Inez. Yeah, we had been in Inez's room, and Taylor had gone up to Casey's to grab something to drink, and so I had the necrophonic I had the headphones in my ears, and it stuns me because normally Gracie doesn't leave her room.
Mm-hmm.
But Gracie was in Inez's room that night for some reason.
Huh.
Because she was madder than a stuck pig at me. And I don't know why.
Oh.
See, now I sat down with Cynthia and we did some logic crunching here. And I think it was because the very first time we were in Malvern, I was doing a Facebook Live session, and I asked Inez, is it okay if I can go into your closet? Okay.
And of course, you don't hear anything normally.
Yeah, don't hear anything. So I went in, and then Taylor went in.
But on the EVP, after reviewing the evidence, after he asked the question, you hear a very pronounced no.
Yeah, very pronounced.
So,
and so
he torqued off Inez.
So Inez would talk to everybody but me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
Second night we were there, nothing. Would not talk.
Nope.
Would not talk. So finally on the third night,
third time we
came over there, I actually came in. I had Taylor there. I made sure that nobody else came up. I closed the door and I said to Inez, I'm sorry. I did not mean, to disrespect you. I couldn't hear your response. So if you choose not to talk to me, that's fine. I understand. All I want to know is that my apologies and do you forgive me? And she said, yes. And I go, great. And she goes, friends? And immediately I brought them, Penny and Pip, and goes, do you want to see them? And she said, yes. Duck, 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 duck. So I was like, yes, I was stoked that I finally got Inez to talk to me. So I ran down, Taylor left, I had Cindy come up, and I'm running literally out of the kitchen, up the stairs, and ready to do this thing. And I'm like really stoked. And so the way we would look at it is Gracie is the crotchety resident. And here is this noise. Okay. And if spirit sees us as lights, here's this glowing bright light carrying these two things with them, making a ruckus. What are you going to do? You're going to want to know what the hell's going on.
Uh-huh.
So, because when we got up there, I was having a conversation with Inez. It was going great. We were laughing. The things were going off, and then all of a sudden, what was it? She goes, "She's coming." I think that's what it was.
Something like that.
Yeah, and it was like, "Who's coming?" And then immediately Cindy goes, okay, everybody stop, because there was just so much noise going on.
It was like all of a sudden the necrophonic just went nuts, and it was just yelling at me from all directions.
And it wasn't gibberish, because I could hear it. It was like a cacophony of voices, just all, and I was like,
calling me everything but my name.
Yeah. And I finally was like, everybody stop. I want to talk to Inez. And
the first thing we get is, no, Gracie.
Yeah. And I was like, fuck. Okay. I was like, what are you doing here, Gracie? And it was like, play. And I'm like, with what? I've never played with Gracie.
Yeah.
And that's when what was it?
It was pink. She kept saying pink.
Pink. And she wanted, there was a pink sheep and there was a pink doll. And I went to the sheep and she literally takes those off and goes, I don't know what the fuck you're doing,
but you need to quit.
You need to quit because they are yelling at you. So it wasn't the sheep. And so it was the doll. So I picked up the doll and she was really nice and conversational, but then
for about 10 seconds.
Yeah. Then she was like, I don't want to talk with Cindy.
Nope. She screamed. She literally, I mean, it was a literal high-pitched scream in my ear. And I took the necrophonic off and I'm like, I'm done. She does not want anything. I am out of here.
Yeah. And that's when Taylor came back. And then so Taylor took over and then everything settled down. Kinda. Sort of. And I was like, okay. And we had the periscope. And I was sitting there and I'm trying to get her to play with it. Now I got it on the ground so you can touch it. Just touch it.
Yeah.
And you see the periscope go, like that. And I go, great, fantastic. And then that was it. It was as if she did what she wanted to do.
And left.
And then left.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a wild night.
I think the wildest one, and I'm glad that actually happened in front of people, was last time we were there in
for the paranormal event.
And did you say Kimmy saw it or
Kim? Yeah, Kim was on the live feed.
Yeah.
Okay. And so while there was Josh, Cynthia, Chris, and a few other people, and Teresa was over towards the closet, but she had her head behind it so she couldn't hear the question. And so me being me, while everybody else is trying to get Inez to talk because there's like really no cooperation going on.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I was like, hey, Inez, let's play a game. I want you to tell lady in the corner the word duck. Quack, quack. Duck. Quack, quack. That low. Okay, Chris was looking at me like,
what the heck is he doing?
What the fuck? And Josh was like, what are you doing? And I was like, duck, quack, quack. No more than 2 minutes?
Not even 2 minutes.
Not even 2 minutes. She sticks her head out, takes her headphones off and goes, did someone tell a little girl to tell me duck, quack, quack, duck? And Josh, no fucking way. And this was like, whoa. And then one of the kid that was there goes, what happened? He goes, I just watched Roland whisper into the middle of the room to Inez to tell the lady back there the word duck. Quack, quack, duck. That just blew my fucking mind. And I'm like, that's typical Josh talk. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes, finally, people are seeing this thing actually, happen.
Yeah.
So that was a really crazy moment.
Yeah, that was cool.
So
let's see here. Matt has a question for you guys. Do you use necrophonics by itself, or do you use a ghost box with it?
What we try to do, one, we'll have that we do a necrophonics by itself first. That's generally once we know, okay, this is a hot spot, and we're going to try to have a conversation. We try not to have another app going at the same time, only because it's not a fair experiment.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like saying, okay, which if you're a mechanic and you can understand the sounds of an engine, you're to put a Porsche and a Pinto together. They sound different, and you're going to get two different kind of responses.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you took one necrophonics and set it up so that way a person can hear through the headphones, and then we can hear what's being said at the same time, that would be a fair example, because now it's one device, and if you get a corroborating, response, then that would be a great way to do it.
Yeah. Normally, what we do is we will have Taylor with the necrophonics in his ears, and I will be in a different part of the same room, and I will try and tune in with my senses and see if I can get anything to corroborate what Taylor says.
And we actually, when we were at Shaler, that one was like, wow. Taylor, I would either Chris or I would lead the question, and Cynthia would respond, and Taylor would respond in kind.
I would respond with what was being told to me,
Mm-hmm.
and then Taylor would validate it with the necrophonic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Shay had a question for Roland. What is his favorite podcast besides theirs?
What is Roland's favorite podcast besides yours?
Yeah.
My favorite podcast of all time is Oxhorn and the Fallout series. No.
Anything on Paranormal Buzz Radio.
I just think anything paranormal.
Yeah.
Is that a safe answer?
Sure,
Yeah.
that's a safe answer.
Yeah.
That's a gotcha question. I'm sorry, I watch a lot of politics. That's a gotcha question.
And Wolf would like to wish you guys happy anniversary again.
Oh,
thank you. Yep. I actually wanted to put something up, but I was sick yesterday. I'm actually down for like 3 days.
3 days.
I got the man flu. Sucks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll admit it. Man flu sucks.
Baby, I'm dying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right, fine. I'll go to the grocery store for you. Even though I'm like dying, but I'll get that milk. Okay.
Makes us feel better.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, we've had it's been a fairly good week for the most part. For me, it's been a rough few days at work, but no, for the most part, it's been a pretty good week. So
I'll agree with you with work.
Oh yeah.
I was ready to walk out Tuesday.
Oh jeez.
somebody had to stop me from walking out today. So
Yeah.
I put in for vacation early, so I'm taking vacation next week.
There you go.
I was gonna kill somebody.
Shay wants to know where your next investigation is.
Tonight we're going to go down and see if there's anything crawling around in our basement.
no. We don't really have an investigation set up as per se. I am working on one for August, so hopefully it does not fall through. And if it does not fall through, y'all will be having fun watching us from the Sally house.
We are looking at the 31st. We're going to go take on the King Kong of haunted locations. I think it's in the top 5 most haunted location in the universe. It scared off even veteran paranormal people. Demonologists, exorcists have had problems with that place. And guess what? We're going to go in there.
We're trying to get in there next year. That and the Macateer. Macateer's in the same town, so we're going to hit both of them.
Yeah, I think the Macateer would be nice too.
The reason why this is a big challenge is not as a paranormal investigation as it is, but trying to overcome the preconceived stories that has already been set ahead of you. When you got trusted veterans like Johnny Hauser or Josh Hurd going, I ain't going back there. That makes you think. So now what it does is it sets this seed inside of you going, are we good enough to take care of this place?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we are at least fully prepared to not shit our pants when we come out of there, So, but yeah, like I said, I just think we just having to overcome those obstacles of preconceived judgment.
And tell Shay she should see her shirt within the next week or so.
All right.
I am having issues with mailing stuff out, so yes, she should see her shirt within the next week or so.
All right, awesome.
Because Shay's like, did she mail my shirt yet?
No.
Okay, Darren's got a question. What is the top 3 locations you want to go to anywhere and one place you will never go back to?
Okay, I want to answer that last one.
Our top 3 locations we want to go anywhere. Well, I know one of Roland's top 3 is the Suicide Forest in Japan. Aokigahara Forest.
Doll Island
in Mexico.
And the Oyabachi Forest.
And the Hoyabachi Forest in Romania.
Oh.
My top 3... God, that's really hard. One of my top 3 is Lep Castle in Ireland.
Oh, yeah.
Another one would probably be Hoyabachi. I would love to go to Hoyabachi Forest just to say I got to go to Romania.
I want to be abducted.
And then number 3 for me. Oh boy. It's gonna sound kind of odd because it's not exactly a paranormal location, but I think there's a lot of spirit activity there. Would be Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll agree with you.
And I actually want to addendum my number 1 to I want to go to Zach Baggins Museum and I want to open up this stupid case and touch the fucking Dybbuk box. I'm sorry. You made me watch you for 2 hours.
And
thinking you're going to open it, and you go through all of this melodramatics just to turn around going, I care for my friends and my fans, so I am not going to open it. Bullshit. Yeah. You just need money. You don't care. So I want to go investigate that place, open up the thing and touch it. And go, see? There, I opened it.
I can see you doing that.
Oh, yeah, I would.
You would, too. And the one place we will never go back to
is nowhere.
We don't have one.
No.
Right now, we don't have one.
Let's say we go to the Sally house and it kicks the living crap out of us.
Yeah.
Let's say everything is true. I get slimed. Cindy starts speaking the old God language. And Taylor is hustle for Shimagora. You know what? I'm going to go back. Because
as of right now, we don't have a place that we would not go back to.
Yeah. So, and that's not just tough talk. It's because once I'm sorry, ghost hunting is a drug. You get it once, and I'm sorry, you're going to want to go back again and try to repeat it.
Yep.
And you're going to try to keep repeating it, and you're going to try to keep repeating it. How many times you go to multiple locations and you find yourself repeating the same thing, not because of anything, it's because that gives you that rush, that familiarity of, ooh, yes, just like the first time.
Yeah.
So if a place nearly kills me and I walk out of it alive, I'm going to want to see if I can do it again.
Yep.
Yep. Definitely.
Because what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to die. I'm 50 years old.
Just to go back for Shay, Miss Shay, the Japanese forest is the Aokigahara forest, and the Romania forest is the Hoyabachi.
Yeah.
She says, can you say the name of the Japanese and Romania forest? Because I always confuse them. Japanese is Aokigahara, and Romania is Hoyabachi.
Hoyabachi.
And I want to go to Hoyabachi, definitely. I myself don't know if I could actually set foot in Aokigahara because of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think for an intuitive, I think for a medium or an intuitive or anyone that is sensitive, stepping foot in that place would probably drop them.
Mm-hmm. Especially with as much medium, just the noise factor as a medium.
Yeah. But no, we don't have anywhere that we wouldn't go back to yet.
We haven't found one yet either. Yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's a keyword.
Yeah. Keyword being yet.
Yeah. And like I said, it's addictive. You know, the moment you slap that first tattoo on, you're going to want another one.
And another one.
My
Same here.
first experience was in Farrar, and that's after going almost 6 hours of nothing. Everybody got something. I got nothing, and I was
not until like 4 o'clock in the morning.
4 o'clock in the morning, and it happened because I accidentally had my EMF detector on, and it went off on the second floor. And I was trying to tear this thing apart. I was like, okay, there's a power conduit underneath this because there's lights downstairs. Mm-hmm. You put it on the floor, the EMF goes off. Of course. And so but what was odd was it was by a table, so it was like, you go beep, 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 stop, beep, 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 stop, beep, 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 stop, as if there was a little row of kids in front of this table. Mm-hmm. But again, my skeptic is, okay, this is just electronic pulses. So we get to about the middle, and we get the same signal again, and there's a conduit box and a light bulb just below us. Again, so I'm disappointed. I'm like, fuck, you know? And so just out of curiosity, James, who was with us, goes, if you can hear me, go walk over to the drinking fountain. And so the EMF starts going deep, 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 and it stops. And you can see me on video waving it around. There's nothing there. I walk over to the drinking fountain, you could get the signal. So I go back and I go, James, call the kid back.
And there's no power to this drinking fountain, just so you know.
And so I come back to the middle, and I go to James, I go, call the kid back. And then he goes, hey, if you can hear me, come back to that spot again. And you can hear the thing going, dee, 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 and it picks up again. So it happened on command. This is all on video and on EVP.
And this was his first experience.
And I was immediately stoked.
Static.
Cindy was still crashed out, and old Perry was. So we went up there 2 or 3 more times. We got a bunch of stuff on video, and finally I could hear Cindy. I come running down there. Cindy, 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 Cindy. Now it's 5 o'clock. Cindy, 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 you got to check this out. You got to check this out. We go up there. I enter the EMF, and she's going,
nothing. I got absolutely nothing.
And I'm sitting there, I'm not lying. I'm sitting there going, you got to believe me. It really happened.
Luckily, Valerie had it on her iPad. She had recorded it on her iPad.
Yeah.
So she actually showed me the video. So I actually got to see it.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And we got in it. Yep. So she got to see that. It's like.
But yeah, it's that. It's seeing his face light up when he gets touched. Mm-hmm. You know, it's things like that. He's like a kid at Christmas. It's fun.
I got my first poltergeist activity at the Mason House Inn. I was debunking an orb. And room 8. Have you been to the Mason House Inn yet?
No. We haven't got to go there yet.
You guys got to go.
If you get the chance, it's a bed and breakfast. Rent the room. Do it. It is so worth it.
Even if you don't ghost hunt, it's a great escape. The town is really pretty. It's really beautiful. I have some really cool pictures that I put up around the place. But anyways, I was debunking an orb because, you know, it's an orb. I don't believe in orbs. Orbs is just orbs unless it does something really unusual. I found out it was a lens flare. So I'm like, So here's my camera running in room 8, which was down the hallway.
The
where
one we
are
were
staying
sleeping in.
All of a sudden you hear rattle, rattle, click, and the door opens. And I'm like, oh my God, that is cool.
Now the funny thing is, right? He's and I know the viewers can't see us, but you can.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so looking at the orb is him looking at you guys, okay?
Okay.
Looking down the hall.
So the camera is here. The door is over that way.
To the left.
The door is over to the left. Where's the camera? Pointed down the hall.
Yeah.
Instead of at the door.
Yeah. So here I am. I'm like, my first poltergeist activity, I come running into the bedroom, and it goes, Cindy, 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 did you see that? And she's like, no, but I heard it. Were you come in? I go, no, the door opened by itself. And she's like, yeah. And I go, no, really, it did. You got to believe me.
Oh, and I do. I really do, because I had the bathroom doorknob turn in my hand when I was coming out of it. So, yeah,
And
I do believe you.
And being the consummate investigator while she's trying to sleep, mind you.
Yeah, this is 11:30 at night. 11:30.
So
everybody else has started going to bed and stuff, so I crawl into bed. What's he doing?
So to all advices to husbands who are married to wives that paranormal investigate and your wife's sleeping, don't do what I did. Which was, I sat there while she was sleeping, opening and closing the door, rattling it, locking it, trying to set it up, talking to the door, sitting there going, open the door, slam, open, slam, click, click. And finally she goes, go outside and have a cigarette or something. So I was like, oh, sorry. So
11:30 at night. Rattle, 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 slam, slam, slam. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Shay wants to know if you guys got Twitter yet.
I do have a Twitter, Shay.
I have a Twitter too.
No, I have a Raven Rose Twitter set up.
Okay. Because I was going to say.
Yeah, I do. Shoot me your Twitter handle, and I will follow you.
And they want to know why Roland's behaving so much.
Yeah, I know. You sound so professional.
Hey,
and they said it's because he's sick, and I said that's because he has the man flu.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's not feeling well.
Now,
right now.
I did drop the F-bomb quite a bit, so.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
You dropped it a couple times, yeah.
Yep. I kept your explicit warning, viable, so.
Oh. It's okay.
But yeah, no, that's why Roland's being so behaved, is he's not feeling well.
Yeah.
Give him a couple of days.
Well, it is after 8. I think you have a show coming on, so we need to kind of wrap this up.
Like having the show because I am starting to feel.
Well, if you guys want to come and join us on Raven Rose after this, come join us on Raven Rose. We were going to have the Paranormal Project boys on tonight, but unfortunately, both of them couldn't make it tonight, so we're going to postpone that till next Thursday. So we're just going to do a Q&A. So, hey, come join us in chat.
Yep.
All
so,
right, yeah. Everybody join them in chat. You want to give out the shout-outs real quick?
Yep, I'm going to go through shout-outs real quick of everybody who was in chat tonight. Got Shay, Darren, Jen B. We had Matt. And of course, Cynthia was in there. I was in there. Scrolling.
Wolf was in
Matt, there. Wolf.
She does like I do.
Uh-huh.
Anybody else? Scrolling. I don't think I
don't remember anybody else.
Thank you, everybody who joined us in chat tonight.
And everybody that was listening that wasn't in chat.
Yep, we appreciate it. And thank you guys for being on tonight. It was a blast.
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
I love it.
And we will be favor, trust me.
Yep.
Sounds good. All right. Yep. Well, we will talk to you guys later, and thank you, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Night.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to REP Paranormal and Friends. Be sure to check out Kim and Allison on Facebook at REP Paranormal Busters.